So we're in week 8 of this course. Uh, I think if you're like me, you feel like you've been through maybe a science fiction sort of a situation where we've been looking at the world of the internet quite differently than we're used to. Uh, as I'm thinking about this course, I'm reminded of an English science fiction. I think it's actually a series, and in it, a family of robots uh, intermingle with what normal people, and it's very difficult to tell that they're robots. And I know this sort of sounds childish, but I'm a little older than some of you, so I've seen from Buck Rogers on up, and what used to look like just pure fantasy is now becoming more and more reality. We're now looking at artificial intelligence that we could never have thought of a short time ago. We're seeing implants in human bodies, cameras in human bodies to check out diseases. So many things are going on, both hardware and software. I'm kind of struck in one instance in this course where we're talking about uh, innovation, and that the uh, the ability to program is the next level. We look back on print and the printing press and all, and we see that we became a nation or a world of readers and maybe of thinkers. We couldn't have thought without the information we had from the alphabet and printing. Now, not many of us back then were writing, but we were reading. The elite were the writers, as this course often says. Now, I'm a bit concerned. I think you can see I'm not an 18-year-old. I'm not up to date on programming, but I know that many of you are, or many of you have children who are, and they're at the cusp of the world, because the programmers are the ones who are going to make the huge changes. They're the ones who will be able to work with the software and the create the software and work with the hardware to make a new world. If we look back, and as the text talks about historical perspectives, you look back, and if you don't know where you've been, you don't know where you're going to go. You have no idea of what's new. You may be thinking you're introducing something new. You have to see that paradigms shift when there's a force, some reason for something to change. And in the digital world, that's always happening. There's always a change. What was new and exciting and world-changing last year is now old. Look at how things like we went from email to text to Facebook to Twitter. All of these things are very, very new, and they've affected us tremendously. I think you have to sometimes go back and look at where you were 20 years ago. And most of you, I think, are old enough that you can go back 20 years and you were still around and you knew what was going on. So I know this class is not a class of teenagers. So take yourself back a bit. Look at where you were 20 years ago and how you were affected. We probably spent too much time, I noticed in some of our discussions in week 7, probably too much time talking about politics and getting too involved in what's right and wrong in politics. And I hope I didn't lead anybody that way. That was not my intent. My intent was to make you think about how you've been affected by technology in your thinking. How have certain politicians used the media to affect you? Some have done a fantastic job of it, some not so much. the point is that this is changing, and as as the as the internet becomes more touchable, where we really integrate the digital world into ourselves, that we can reach out and actually touch, as as you've seen with people with disabilities, where they've been able to move and think differently because of technology. I don't have any great words of wisdom. I do, however, want to invite you, if you feel you want to discuss something, please feel free to contact me. You can contact me through email. You have my cell phone number if you'd like to call. The only thing I ask is you think about when you might call me. I live on Eastern time. I'm in a beautiful part of Florida right now. I'm sitting here talking to you, but I'm really looking out over a beautiful pool. So it's about, 1 o'clock here. So think about your timing, but I'd be more than happy to talk to you if you want to give me a call. So again, I'm just kind of trying to wrap up this course a little bit and tweak your brain a little bit, not get too technical or not get into any great intellectual games, but to make you, to remind you to keep thinking and think ahead of where do you think we might be going? What's the next thing? I want to stop for a minute and go back. There is an app, I found it years ago. It's called Voxer, V-O-X-E-R, and it is basically a replacement for text. If you want to talk to somebody rather than call them, you use Voxer, which I'd say is somewhat like a walkie-talkie. I find it interesting that this device, which is, from my point of view, superb, what it does is it allows you to leave a message for somebody, much like you're leaving a text message, but it's your voice, and you leave your inflections. If I were to write this out, it would sound entirely different than it does when I'm speaking. So the thing that hits me is that Voxer never really took off. Interesting, isn't it? Why do you think that happened? What technologies are out there that could really make a change in our manner of communication? That Voxer would make a huge change. Doesn't seem to catch on. So again, I'm just trying to tweak your brain a little bit. I'm not getting very academic here. And if you have any questions, please make sure to give me a call or just email me. Do it the old way. Thanks. Bye.